What's going on, people? It's your boy Wanzo coming back to you with another video. I just want to make a quick video here on how Sia mining is going for me. I'm getting a lot of questions in Discord about overclocking and and that sort of thing, and I'm gonna kind of go over that real quick because it's not really hard. But you do need to be mindful of the temperatures of your chips. If you live in a hot climate, like maybe Florida, somewhere along the south, maybe into like Arizona or something like that, you might not want to overclock your miners unless you have appropriate cooling, because these miners, it doesn't take much to run those chips over 90, run that temp over 90 easy. I'm up here in New Hampshire. I have really cool mornings, and when I open the doors into that room, I have that gust of almost coolish to cold air that comes in on top of my fans, and it immediately knocks down the temperature of my chips. So be very careful if you overclock. You don't want to friggin' burn the shit out of it. You don't want to melt your boards or just basically destroy your miner because you want to try overclocking it a little bit, unless you have appropriate cooling. So anyway, let's do this. I have all 10 of my A3s up here, okay? Each one of them is overclocked, all right? All 10 of them are overclocked. And I'm running at about, this 5-minute number changes quite a bit. Sometimes it spikes up to about 9,300. Sometimes it goes down to about 8,700. But for the most part, it's right at about 9,000 gigahash here. Sorry about that. I'm over here thinking about an SSD drive that I saw. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It runs about 9,000 gigahash or 9 terahash, whichever way you want to do it. But basically what it is if you want to overclock your miner, you got to make sure that these temps, for the most part, stay in the 80s, preferably mid to lower 80s. But you definitely don't want to start hitting that 90 degree temperature or the 90 Celsius temperature, because the miner's going to start like resetting itself, almost like a reboot. And you're basically just going to end up losing hashes at that rate if it's going to continuously do that. So make sure that the temp is down, and if the temp is too high, maybe try a lesser number. I personally find that when you go to miner configuration, you go to advanced setting, and then you have the frequency here. I find that 650 M for me is very, very stable. Okay, especially with my cool mornings, and for the most part, the days ain't that hot. Maybe in like the low 70s or upper 60s. 650 is perfect. If I have a really cool day, then I can crank it up to about 668. All right, but you got to make sure that you keep an eye on the temps. I have a couple of miners here that run, for the most part, I have 3 of them that run really cool. So those, I'm able to crank the hell out of those. All right, so I have this one here that's about set. This one is set to 650. This one is set to 650. This one is 650. This one is 650. This one here is set to 668. Okay, and if you pay attention to the chip temps, it's still mid 80s and down. If I left this on default, it'd be running in like in the low 70s. So this one here, for some reason, I'm able to overclock a lot more than the other ones. I'm able to get about 930 gigahash out of these, 925 to 930, right up in there. This one here is 650. This one here is, I can obviously tell, this one is 668. Let's check it out real quick. Yep, 668. And like I said, look at the chip temp. All right. You want to make sure that stays cool. All right. And this one here is it's spiking, but this one here is set to 650. Yeah, 650. And I have another one that's cranked up pretty high, and it's this one here. See, this one right here is kind of running a little hot. It's borderline there. I got to keep an eye on this one just to make sure that it doesn't creep into the 90s. If it does, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go back into the advanced settings, and I'm going to probably drop it down a notch, put it to like 662. All right, and then save and apply. And that's basically what you want to do with these. You got to really babysit them, especially if you live somewhere that's warmer than where I am. So please be very careful that you don't ruin your miner. All right. And this one here is running. It's spiking, but it's running at 650. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 650. So that's how you overclock your miner. Basically, you go to miner configuration, you go to advanced settings, and you click on the frequency. And I find it between 650 and 668, depending on where you are, for the most part, is very stable. If you live somewhere hot, maybe 650 might be too much. Maybe 644 or 638. You got to give them a try and see where your where the chip temperature is at, and kind of go accordingly with that. I wouldn't really crank it higher than 668. I think at that point it kind of just becomes unstable in general. It doesn't matter if you're cold or hot or whatever. It's just too high of a frequency, and I don't think it can handle it, because I have tried it. But that's pretty much it. That's how overclocking works. And because I'm able to overclock them, I'm able to get anywhere between 9,000 gigahash to 9,300 gigahash. Sometimes it goes down to about 880 gigahash, okay, for the most part. And I'm earning, over 24 hours, I'm earning almost 3,100 Siacoin, all right? And the difficulty for the most part has been stable. It's been at about a week, fluctuating between 33 million and upper 35 millions, almost 36 million, but it's right up around in there. If you go to the statistics page, okay, you can see where actually right about here was pretty much the last real dip in the difficulty. If you go back to May 11th, you can see where it dipped down to about 28 million, and then it spiked up, and then it did a little smaller dip, and then it spiked up to about lower 36 millions, and then it just kind of stabilized, and it's just kind of basically riding like a wave, and that's basically what it's doing now. So I think that's a good thing. If it stays here for quite some time, I think we'll be okay. But if people continue to buy miners, it's just going to ramp up the difficulty. And in my honest opinion, I would probably not encourage anybody to purchase any more A3s, because for the most part, they're pretty inefficient. And unless you have the money to pay for the electricity, I mean, you're not going to have a real nice electric bill. And if you're just dumping your Sia to pay for your electricity, you're not really accomplishing much. And I think you're probably better off, maybe buying something that's, more efficient, or something else instead. But that's pretty much my opinion. That's where I see it. The number of miners has actually stayed very stable. It was at about 13,300, but it's come down quite a bit. About 700 miners seems to have disappeared off of Sia mining. Now, I don't know if this number here is every single miner, mining Sia, period. I don't know. I don't know if this is just, for Sia, or if this is like a total number in general of every single pool. So that I wish I had an answer for, but I don't. But that's pretty much it. That's what I'm looking at. I'm getting about, almost 3,100 Siacoin per day, and I think that's pretty good. And if you do overclock, just remember, watch that chip temperature, and that's pretty much it. And when I go to bed at night, I go back to default. I don't leave it like this, because I don't want to destroy the friggin' miners. I'm only overclocking them because I know I have, I have these, monster sized fans. Okay, these things are freaking phenomenal. I purchased them for $300 a piece. They're normally $1,000 fans. These are true industrial, and they're not like them Home Depot shits that you go to get at Home Depot. And at the end of the summer, they're all fucking busted up and blown out, and just burnt out in general. It's a 22-inch Patterson. It's made by the Patterson Company. It's a little bit that I know about it. It's still a family-owned company. They're out of South Carolina, and these fans are made for industrial application, and basically to plug the shit in and just leave it running for thousands of hours. There's people that I've read reviews of people having these fans 10 years running nonstop in warehouses. So I think I made a good buy on these, and if you happen to see any of these, I highly recommend them. They're excellent, and I have one here blowing the air out of the room, and the other one, this one is sucking the cool air in. This one is blowing the hot air out. And those are my miners. They're on a mobile rack, so I'm able to push it back and bring it forward. So in the morning, I bring it forward near the door, closer to the fan, so they run cool. And this is a picture of the back. I've zip tied a lot of these wires, trying to keep it clean. And I also ran a cord to the rack itself, basically, so I'm able to to move it around without worrying about the force of me moving the cart. I'm accidentally unplugging any of these, and it's actually worked out very well. So if anybody's interested in doing that, you'll go back. If anybody's interested in doing that, then it worked out really good. And I just kind of showing you where I did it. I looped it around the zip tie, and just trying to keep everything real clean, real nice. I don't want all kinds of wires all over the place. I need to finish, zip tying these up. But that's basically how it works, and all my plugs are tapped out. I have another 10 plugs coming on the 22nd for an expansion, and that's pretty much it. And like I said, it's the Patterson Company. That's what these fans are. They're excellent. They're phenomenal. They really do a great job at moving a lot of air. So anyways, that's my update for this month. I'll probably do another update in another 30 days. So that's pretty much it. Just, if you're going to buy anything, I probably would not advise anybody pig piling on top of Sia. It can't handle much more. Anymore, it's really just going to blow the difficulty out of the water, and we're all fucking screwed. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and make sure you hit the bell so you know when I load up another video. Have a good afternoon, guys. Peace.